So before we jump into Chapter 4 and the pieces of it, I want to give you just a brief introduction to structure and function and forces and stuff like that that affect some biological systems, or that we can see clearly in biological systems. So let's discuss hemoglobin for a minute. Hemoglobin is a big protein that's job is to move oxygen around the body to get it to places that need oxygen, to your cells. A depiction of hemoglobin is this big kind of blob on the bottom here. You can see that there are blue and red pieces, so it's kind of, there's 4 quadrants to this, 4 similar quadrants. And in each of those quadrants, there's this kind of green molecule, which is this molecule shown up here, and that's heme, H-E-M-E. Heme is the molecule that carries, or that attaches the oxygen, or the oxygen attaches to, and ultimately is the thing that carries, that holds the oxygen as it goes through your bloodstream to wherever it's being delivered. But that heme molecule sits in the hemoglobin in each of the 4 quadrants, and that's basically what carries the oxygen around your body. Now the structure of heme is somewhat complex. It's not a small molecule by any means, but hemoglobin is even bigger and a bit more complex. The important thing here is that we can see that iron ion right in the middle of the heme, and it's that iron that the oxygen attaches to. Now, it's really important that iron, or the heme, bind the oxygen tightly enough that it will get carried through your blood and not fall off, but not too tight that when it gets to where it needs to be, it'll come off. Right? So there's this really delicate balance of that interaction between the heme and the oxygen. And then that heme has to sit in the hemoglobin just right so that when it gets to the target, it can get released to the target. So there's this definite interesting balance of structure of what the protein looks like and what the heme looks like, and function. The structure of hemoglobin here, where we can see all these coils that are kind of depicted by ribbons, that's just a method that biochemists use to depict proteins, because proteins are so big and there's so many atoms in them. Showing each atom would just make this very, very hard to visualize. So they put it in these kind of ribbon models to show kind of where there are these coils and where there's sheets and things like that. Okay, so the second one I want to show you is estradiol. Estradiol is an estrogen, is a type of estrogen that exists in cells, and what happens is the estradiol will bind to this big blue thing that's called an estrogen receptor, and the estradiol fits perfectly into the estrogen receptor in these little pockets, in those pink pieces. That's the estradiol. It just fits right into the estrogen receptor. When the estradiol is in the estrogen receptor, and DNA also binds to the estrogen receptor, the green is the DNA. We can kind of see the coil there. When they're bound together, it signals the cell to grow faster. It enhances the rate of the growth of the cell, which is important when you're, creating a child, or and it's growing from single cell to 2 cell to 4 cell to 8 cell in your uterus. But the problem is that when these cells become cancerous, and this happens, what happens is the cancerous cells now grow faster. And estradiol is a part of breast cancer. And obviously when this happens, we have cancer cells growing faster, which is bad because they already grow faster. So learning how this works and the structure, and if there's a way we can block these receptor areas so that the estradiol can't get in there and it can't tell the cell to grow faster, would be a major benefit in reducing the rate at which the cancer grows. So again, knowing the structure and the function of things in chemistry is going to be really important to either make drugs or whatever it is to enhance or counteract things.